you game. I don't wanna. Oh, do you wanna hug? Oh, do I have to? Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. You had to.
Well, hello guys. Welcome to the video. I'm Sylvie the Shadow, and I hope you guys know this video is going to be very different from what I usually do. This is really out of my comfort zone, but you know, we'll make the best of it. We're going to try, and I feel like it's going to do well. And just to avoid having a long intro, we're going to get right into the video right now. So obviously, if you're new here, please subscribe, because I don't know, it would boost my ego, I guess. Just subscribe. Like, I will cry if you subscribe, but that's besides the point. But before I actually get into like the real main part of the video, the meat and potatoes, so to speak, I'm gonna tell you guys a little story about myself. So when I was in school, I didn't really care to listen to teachers. I didn't really care to do homework. I didn't really care to do schoolwork. So I would either fall asleep in class, and on more than one occasion wake up with a brand new class, or if we had like a project in the computer lab, instead of doing what I should be doing and focusing on the project, I go on other websites and like cool math games. You know, I would play like B Cubed. I was getting real good at B Cubed. Or I would play like Lego.com before they blocked it. Your boy would scroll through websites reading creepy stuff a lot of the times. And so back when I was in middle school and high school, I used to watch a lot of these like YouTubers like Let's Read or Corpse Husband. And there's a video I was watching one time, and I don't know if it was by them, but there was one that mentioned this website, and this website's called Scarier for Kids. And if you ever browse through this website, you realize this is one of the most unkid-friendly things ever. I mean, like, they got certain stories for kids, but a lot of it's definitely not for kids. I would definitely say that much. And so let's go ahead and read the top 3 creepiest stories I've found on this website. Now, the first story is called Tap Tap Tap, and it's a scary Halloween story about school children, a secret knock, and a crazed murderer on the loose, which is a fantastic combination. So let's get right into this story. Scary voice time. I would tell you a story about something terrible that happened on Halloween. This story is true, so they say, and it made my hair stand on end just to hear it. It all happened many years ago in my town, which at that time was just a little town between the mountains of Catalonia, Spain. I hope I said that right. The town was little more than a small square with a church, a park, a prison, and a school. Ooh, fantastic combination. With all the houses clustered around, the town was very proud of their school since it had been voted the best school in the province. I do wonder if this is a true story, right? But we're off to an amazing start. It's always an amazing start when you have the prison right near the school, right? It was the morning of October 31st, Halloween, and a class of students were doing arts and crafts in their classroom. Well, obviously, where else are they going to do it? The hallway? Man, when I was in school, I was doing arts and crafts in the hallway. Who cared about the classroom? I didn't even stay in classrooms. I was too busy getting ISS. I stayed in the ISS classrooms where I stayed at. Some were cutting skeletons out of sheets of paper, some were painting vampire bats, and others were drawing pumpkins. The students were all aged between 8 and 9 years old. Oh, and this has a crazed murderer on the loose. Fantastic. Their teacher was a beautiful young woman who only had been working at the school for 1 month. While the children were having fun preparing the Halloween decorations, the teacher turned the radio on and listened to the weather forecast. She was planning to organize an outdoor Halloween party for the kids later that day and wanted to be sure that it wouldn't rain. Oh man. Really, I know where this story is going and it's not good. Suddenly the weather forecast was interrupted by a news bulletin. This is an important announcement. A convicted murderer has escaped from the local prison and is on the loose. He is described as armed and very dangerous. Please do not attempt to apprehend him. The police will. The teacher rushed across the room and switched off the radio. She did not want to alarm the children, but it was too late. The children all heard the broadcast, and they were very frightened by the news. They knew that the prison was very near the school. The teacher tried to reassure them and told them not to worry. A few minutes later, the school principal made an announcement over the intercom. Attention all teachers, we have been informed that the police are dealing with a very serious situation that is occurring right now in the town. All teachers are advised to lock the doors and windows of their classrooms until the police get this situation under control. I repeat, lock all doors and windows until further instruction. That is all. The teachers told the class to stay calm. She took out her key and locked the classroom door, and then she went around and closed every window, making sure they were secure and nobody could get in. One little girl raised her hand and asked if she could go to the bathroom. The teacher didn't want to let her go, but the girl insisted. The teacher finally relented and gave her permission to go to the toilet. After all, it was unlikely the murderer would come to the school. Alright, this is heading in a direction I don't want it to head in. Like, you guys already know what's going to happen. Right? Like, you guys know where this is going. We got an elementary school and a crazy murderer on the loose. And this girl's going to the bathroom. You think the teacher would have, like, enough common sense to be like, no, I can't. Or, here, have somebody go with you, you know? She told the girl that when she came back, she would give them a secret knock at the classroom door. They would know that it was her and they could let her back in. The code was 3 taps and 2 scratches. Tap, 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 scratch, scratch. The girl left to go to the bathroom, and the teacher locked the door behind her. To take the children's mind off the scary situation, she started telling stories after 20 minutes had passed, and the girls still had not returned. The teacher began to get worried. What's taking her so long? She wondered out loud. Suddenly, they could hear footsteps in the corridor. Everybody in the classroom froze. Then they heard a noise at the door. Tap, tap, tap. Scratch, scratch. She's back, sighed the teacher in relief. She walked over and took out her key. What if it's not her? Asked one little boy who was shivering with fright. The teacher hesitated. Her key inches from the lock. Again, they heard a noise at the door. Tap, 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 scratch, scratch. It must be her, said the teacher. She put the key into the door and unlocked it. Suddenly, the classroom door burst open, and a tall man was standing there. In his right hand, he was holding a knife. In his left hand, he was holding the... I'm gonna leave that part up to imagination, but you get the gist. I would probably edit the words in. The escaped murderer came into the classroom, smiling from ear to ear. The children were trapped inside. All that could be heard in the corridors of the school were screams of terror and squeals of pain. Jesus. In the chaos, the teacher managed to break a window and jumped out. She barely escaped with her life. She crawled to safety. The children, however, were not so lucky. When the police arrived, they found the murderer sitting in the middle of the classroom. The floors, walls, and ceiling were covered in little body parts lay scattered around him. Jesus. He had shot every child in the class into tiny pieces. I'm sorry if I scarred you guys for life. They found in the third stall of the bathroom. The police figured out what had probably happened. That cold October day, the escaped prisoner must have been hiding in the toilet when the girl was asking for permission to go to the bathroom. He must have surprised her in the stall and forced her to tell him the password. When she did, I don't even know how to get around the censor for that, so I'm not even going to say that. Today, the teacher is in a psychiatric hospital. Jeez, that was so hard to pronounce. She never recovered from the incident and can't stop repeating over and over again. Tap, tap, tap. Scratch, scratch. Tap, tap, tap. Scratch, scratch. The school was abandoned because parents refused to send their children there. There were too many bad memories. The school was just left the way it was when the murders occurred. They say if you visit the old school building and go into the classroom, you can still see the still dripping down the walls. If you're brave enough, you could even go to the bathroom. Just tap 3 times and scratch 2 times on the door of the third stall, then open it. You will see the body of the little girl sitting on the toilet. That is insane. Whoever wrote this is insane. Like I don't even know if this is a true story. I hope not. I hope this is just a story that's on a creepy website for no, like, you know, some people write stories and and they just add stuff like murder or murders for, you know, shock value is the word I was trying to think of. The next story we got is a story called 8 Feet Tall. So this one is not as traumatizing as the last one. So let's start. So 8 feet tall, or Hashishikayama, I hope I pronounced that right. I probably butchered the crap out of it. But it's an urban legend about a tall woman who abducts children. She's 8 feet tall, wears a long white dress, and makes a sound like po, 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 po. I remember this story kind of freaking me out because I thought it was like a true story, and it still could be true, but it's definitely creepy nonetheless. So let's get started with it. My grandparents lived in Japan. I would love to go to Japan. I would love to visit Japan. I bet it's wonderful. Every summer, my parents would take me there on holiday to visit them. They lived in a small village and they had a big backyard. I loved to play there during the summer. And when we arrived, my grandparents always welcomed me with open arms. I was their only grandchild, so they spoiled me. The last time I saw them was summer, when I was 8 years old. As usual, my parents booked a flight to Japan, and we drove from the airport to my grandparents' house. I lost my place for a second. I was like, where do I start? They were delighted to see me, and they had a lot of little presents to give me. This is why I can't talk fast. My parents wanted to have some time by themselves, so after a few days they took a trip to another part of Japan, leaving me in the care of my grandpa and grandma. Just reverse the wording on that one, because it actually says grandma first and then grandpa, so that was on me. Either way, one day I was playing out in the backyard. My grandparents were inside the house. It was a hot summer's day and I lay down on the grass to rest. I stared up at the clouds and enjoyed the feeling of the soft rays of the sun and the gentle breeze. Just as I was about to get up, I heard a strange sound. Po, 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 po. I'm guessing the 8 feet tall lady's a big fan of Kung Fu Panda. I didn't know what it was, and it was hard to figure out when it was coming. And it was hard to figure out where it was coming from. It sounded almost like somebody was making the noise themselves, as if they were just saying po, 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 over and over again in a deep masculine voice. I was looking around, searching for the source of the noise, when I suddenly noticed something on top of the tall hedges that enclosed the backyard. It was a straw hat. It wasn't resting on the hedge. It was behind it. That's where the sound was coming from. Po, 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 po. Ooh, that's freaky though. That is some freaky stuff. Then the hat began to move, as if someone was wearing it. The hat had stopped at a small gap in the hedge, and I could see a face peering through. It was a woman, but the hedges were high, almost 8 feet tall. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps already. I was surprised at how tall the woman was. I wonder if she was wearing stilts or some sort of huge high-heeled shoes. Then a split second later, she walked off and the strange noise disappeared with her, fading into the distance. Bewildered, which means confused if you guys don't know what that means, I got up and wandered back into the house. My grandparents were in the kitchen drinking tea. I sat down at the table after a while. I told my grandparents what I had seen. They weren't really paying attention to me until I mentioned the distinctive sound. Po, 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 po. As soon as I said that, both of them suddenly froze. Grandma's eyes grew wide, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Grandpa's face became very serious, and he grabbed me by the arm. "This is very important," he said in an intense voice. "You must tell us exactly. How tall was she?" "As tall as the garden hedge," I replied, beginning to get scared. My grandfather bombarded me with questions. Where was she standing? When did this happen? What did you do? Did she see you? I tried to answer all his questions as best I could. He slowly rushed out of the hallway and made a phone call. I couldn't hear what he was saying. I looked over at my grandma and she was trembling. Grandpa came barging back into the room and spoke to my grandmother. "I've got to go out for a while," he said. "You stay here with the child. Don't take your eyes off of him for a second." "What's going on, Grandpa?" I cried. He looked at me with a sad expression in his eyes and he said, "You've been liked by 8 feet tall." Sorry, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because it was hard the first time and that's a real tongue twister. As much as I would love to learn how to speak Japanese. With that, he hurried out and got into his truck and drove off. I turned to my grandmother and cautiously asked, "Who's 8 feet tall?" "Don't worry," she replied in a shaking voice. "Grandpa would do something. There's no need for you to worry." As we sat nervously in the kitchen, waiting for my grandfather to come back, she explained what was happening. She told me there was a dangerous thing that was haunting the area. They called it Hakashi Shakosoma. See, I tried. I suck at it. I tried again. I suck at it. So if you guys want to laugh at that, go right ahead. I will probably laugh after I hear the edit of this video. Because of its height in Japanese, it's the Japanese word for 8 feet tall, just in case you guys don't know. I didn't know until now. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman, and it makes it sound like po, 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 in a deep male voice. It appears slightly different depending on who sees it. Some say it looks like a haggard old woman in a kimono, and others say it is a girl in a white funeral shroud. One thing that never changes is its height and the sound it makes. A long time ago, it was captured by monks. They managed to confine it in a ruined building on the outskirts of the village. They tried to use them for small religious statues called Jizos? I'm gonna say Jizos. Jizos sound a little bit safer than Jizzos. That they placed at the north, south, east, and west of the ruins. And it wasn't supposed to be able to move from there. Somehow it managed to escape. The last time it appeared was 15 years ago. My grandmother said that anyone who saw 8 feet tall was destined to die within a few days. It all sounded so crazy. I wasn't sure what to believe. When Grandpa came back, there was an old woman with him. She introduced herself as Kason and handed me a small crumbled piece of parchment saying, "Here, take this and hold it." Then she and Grandpa went upstairs to do something. I was left alone in the kitchen with my grandmother again. I needed to go to the toilet. Granny followed me to the bathroom and wouldn't let me shut the door. I was beginning to get really frightened by all this. After a while, Grandpa and Kason took me upstairs and brought me into my bedroom. The windows were covered in newspaper and lots of ancient runes that had been written on them. There were small bowls of salt in all four corners of the room and a small Buddha figure placed at the center of the room on top of a wooden box. There was also a bright blue bucket. So, I think the use for the salt is like protection. Just to protect himself from like paranormal activity. Because if you ever watch like anything having to do with paranormal, they mention something about salt. And what salt does is supposed to be like a protection type of thing. As far as I know, I could be wrong. You guys could correct me in the comments. Oh man, I lost my place. That's for your bathroom, Grandpa replied. Oh, what's the bucket for? I asked. That's for your bathroom, Grandpa replied. Kason set me down on the bed and said, soon the sun would be setting. So listen carefully. You must stay in this room until tomorrow morning. You must not come out under any circumstances until 7 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, Your grandmother and your grandfather will not speak to you or call you until then. Remember, do not leave the room for any reason. Until then, I will let your parents know what is going on." She spoke in such a great tone that all I could do was quietly nod my head. "You had to follow Kayson's instructions to the letter," Grandpa told me, "and never let go of the parchment she gave you. And if anything happens, pray to Buddha and make sure you lock this door when we leave." They walked out into the hallway, saying goodbye to them. I closed the bedroom door. And locked it. I turned on the TV and tried to watch, but I was so nervous I felt sick to my stomach. Grandma had left some snacks and rice balls for me, but I couldn't eat them. I felt like I was in prison, and I was very depressed and scared. I lay down on the bed and waited. Before I knew it, I was asleep. When I woke up, it was just after 1 a.m. All of a sudden, I realized that something was tapping on the window. Tap, 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 tap. I felt the blood draining from my face, and my heart skipped a beat. I desperately tried to calm myself down and tell myself it was just the wind playing tricks on me. Or maybe the branches of a tree. I turned up the volume on the TV to drown out the tapping noise. Eventually it stopped altogether. And then when I heard Grandpa calling me, "Are you okay in there?" he asked. "If you're scared, you don't have to stay in there all alone. I could come in and keep you company." I smiled and rushed over to open the door, but then I stopped in my tracks. I had goosebumps all over my body. It sounded like Grandpa's voice, but somehow it was different. I couldn't tell what it was. I just knew. "What are you doing?" Grandpa asked. "You can open the door now." I glanced to my left, and a chill went down my spine. The salt in the bowls was slowly turning black. I backed away from the door. My whole body was trembling with fear. I fell to my knees in front of the Buddha statue and clutched a piece of parchment tightly in my hand. I started desperately praying for help. "Please save me. From 8 feet tall," I wailed. And then I heard the voice outside the door saying, "Po, Po, 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 Po." The tapping on the window started up again. I was overcome by fear. I crouched there in front of the statue, half crying, half praying for the rest of the night. I felt like it would never end, but eventually it was morning. The salt in all 4 bowls was pitch black. I checked my watch. It was 7:30 a.m. I cautiously opened the door, and Grandma and Kayson were standing outside waiting for me. When she saw my face, Grandma burst into tears. "I'm so glad you're still alive," she said. I went downstairs and was surprised to see my father and mother sitting in the kitchen. Grandma came in and said, "Hurry up, we got to get going." We went to the front door. There was a large black van waiting in the driveway. Several men from the village were standing around it, pointing at me and whispering, "That's the boy." The van was a 9-seater. They put me in the middle, surrounded by 8 men. Kayson was in the driver's seat. The man on my left looked down at me and said, "You got yourself in quite a spot of trouble. I know you're probably worried. Just keep your head down and shut your eyes. We can see it, but you can't. Don't open your eyes until we got you to safety out of here. Safely out of here." Damn. I'm always messing up words. Grandpa drove in front, and my dad's car was following behind. When everyone was ready, our little convoy started moving. We were going fairly slow, around 20 kilometers per hour, or maybe less. After a while, Kason said, "This is where it gets hard," and started muttering a prayer under her breath. That was when I heard the voice. Po, 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 po. I clutched a parchment Kason had given me tightly in my hand. I kept my head down, but I peeked outside. I saw a white dress fluttering in the breeze. It was moving along with the van. It was 8 feet tall. She was outside the window, but she was keeping pace with us. Then suddenly she bent down and peered into the van. "No," I gasped. The man beside me shouted, "Close your eyes." I immediately shut my eyes as hard as I could and tightened my grip on the piece of parchment. Then the tapping began. Tap, 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 tap. The voice became louder. Po, 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 po. There was tapping on the windows all around us. All of the men in the van were startled and on edge, muttering nervously to themselves. They couldn't see 8 feet tall, and they couldn't hear her voice, but they could hear her tapping on the windows. Kason started praying louder and louder until she was almost shouting. The tension inside the van was unbearable. After a while, the tapping stopped, and the voice disappeared. Kason looked back at us and said, "I think we're safe now." Wow, this is really intense. Man, I'm on the edge of my seat. All of the men around me breathed a sigh of relief. The van pulled over to the side of the road, and the men got out. They transferred me into my dad's car. My mother held me close and tears were running down her cheeks. Grandpa and my father bowed to the men, and they went on their way. Kason came to the window and asked me to show her the piece of parchment she had given me. When I opened my hand, I saw that it had gone completely black. "I think you will be okay now," she said. "But just to be sure, hold on to this for a while." She handed me a new piece of parchment. After that, we drove straight to the airport, and Grandpa saw us safely on the plane. And when we took off, my parents breathed a sigh of relief. My father told me that he had heard about 8 feet tall before years ago. His friend had been liked by her. The boy disappeared and was never seen again. My father said there were other people who had been liked by her and lived to tell about it. They all had to leave Japan and settle down in foreign countries. They were never able to go back to their homeland. She always chooses children as her victims. They say it's because children are dependent on their parents and family members. This makes them easier to deceive when she poses as their relatives. He said the men in the van were all blood relatives of mine, and that's why they had been sitting all around me and why my father and grandpa had been driving in front and back. It was all done to try to confuse 8 feet tall. It took a while to contact everyone and get them all together, so that's why I had to be confined in a room all night. It gave me chills. Oh, my bad, I almost read the next line. He told me that one of the little Jizo statues, the ones that were meant to keep her trapped, had been broken, and that's how she was escaped. I mean, like, in all fairness, we could have figured that out by the way the story was going anyway. It gave me the chills. And I was glad when we finally got back home. Jeez, I had so much saliva built up right there, and I tried to swallow it and it didn't go my way. All of this happened more than 10 years ago. I haven't seen my grandparents since then. I haven't been able to so much as set foot in the country. I don't know why that confused me. I thought that was going to say dude. Afterwards, I would called them every few weeks and talked to them on the phone. Over the years, I tried to convince myself that it was just an urban legend, that everything that happened was just some elaborate prank. But sometimes, I'm not so sure. My grandfather died 2 years ago when he was sick. He wouldn't allow me to visit him and left me strict instructions in his will that I wasn't to attend his funeral. It was all very sad. My grandmother called me a few days ago. She said that she had been diagnosed with cancer, and she missed me terribly, and wanted to see me one last time before she died. "Are you sure, Grandma?" I asked. "Is it safe?" "It's been 10 years, she said. "All that happened a long time ago. It's all forgotten. You're all grown up now." "I'm sure there won't be a problem." But what about 8 feet tall?" I said. For a moment, there was silence on the phone. There was silence on the other end of the phone. Then I heard a deep, masculine voice saying, "Poe, Poe, 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 Poe." Ooh, Goosebumps Central. Wow, that was kind of a tongue twister of a story, I ain't gonna lie. Alright, so that was kind of an intense story. That was 8 feet tall, kind of creepy. So the next story, and this story kind of freaks me out to this day, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the image with it. The image of this story kind of freaks me out. I'm not gonna lie, the girl looks so creepy. But this story is called "Girl in the Photograph." Jeez, wow, that was so tough to say. And this is a creepy story about a boy that finds a picture of a beautiful girl and becomes obsessed with her. Like, you know, the classic boy having a crush on a girl type of thing. Which I don't know why he just looked at a picture and went, "Oh, I have a crush on this random ass girl." But after doing some research, I'm pretty sure this was originally a Japanese or Korean urban legend. Me personally, I heard that was Korean, but I could be wrong. I might fact check myself later, but I think Japanese and Koreans definitely have similar urban legends. But anyways, let's get to the story. That's enough of my speculation. I don't want someone to, come at me. One day, oh no wait, creepy voice. One day, a boy was sitting in his classroom in school. He was extremely bored and was waiting for the school bell to ring. When he looked out the window, something caught his eye. There was a photograph flying on the grass outside. So, why would that catch his eye? I suppose it would be a little odd if you're just sitting in class bored and you just so happen to look out the window and you find this random photograph outside. When school was over, he ran outside and picked up the photograph before anyone else had a chance to see it. Turning it over in his hands, he realized it was a picture of an incredibly beautiful girl. She was wearing a white top, a short black skirt, black tights, and black shoes. For some reason, she was holding up 2 fingers. So that's obviously important. I wonder what the 2 fingers could mean. Is she just doing the peace symbol? Some people hold up 2 fingers for the peace symbol. Or is that how much burrito she had? Get it? I don't know. That wasn't that funny. I don't know what I was thinking with that joke. But anyways, the girl was so pretty that he wanted to meet her. He showed the photograph to everyone in the school and they asked if they knew her. Unfortunately, nobody recognized her. See, that should be a red flag right there. If no one recognizes the girl and you asked everybody, I imagine this dude just asked a couple of his friends and maybe 1 or 2 random people. That's my speculation. That night, when he went to bed, he placed a photo on his bedside table and went to sleep. Around midnight, he woke up and there was something tapping on his window. And when he heard what he heard sounded like someone giggling. More than a little frightened, he worked up the courage to investigate it. See, in a no horror situation, you should hear tapping and decide you want to go investigate. That's like the worst decision you can make. Horror movies taught me that, and video games taught me that. And real life taught me that. If there's something you don't know that's causing a noise, don't investigate it. He jumped out of bed and went over to the window and opened it, and there was nothing. See, that would freak me out. There was nothing there. The next day, he showed the photo to his friends and neighbors and asked if they knew the mysterious girls. Wait, didn't he already show his friends before? Or is this his friends in the neighborhood that hasn't seen the picture? Because earlier it said he already showed his friends. Alright, whatever. I'm not going to try to deep dive into the story. Everybody, he asked, they said they had never seen the girl before in their lives. That night, as he laid in bed, he heard the tapping sound again. He looked out the window and could just make out a figure standing on the other side of the street. He couldn't be sure, but it looked like the mysterious girl in the photograph. Alright, so the first night you hear tapping on the window and see nothing there. Nothing at all. And then you hear the tapping noise the next night and you see this mysterious girl-like figure standing on the other side of the window or across the street or wherever she is. Wouldn't that not make you turn back and like call 911 or something? Because that would freak me out. I don't care how attractive you are. That would freak me out. Alright, where was I? I lost my place because I was doing my inner monologue in my head. Well, not in my head. I was telling y'all how I felt, but whatever. Could make out a figure standing on the other side of the street. He couldn't be sure, but it looked like the mysterious girl in the photograph. I'm sorry if I read that twice. It's just mainly because I lost my place. Clutching the picture tightly, he threw on his clothes and raced down the stairs and out the front door. As he crossed the road, he forgot to look both ways and was suddenly hit by a car. Remember, kids, always look both ways before crossing the road. The driver got out of the car and ran over to help the boy, but it was no use. The boy had been killed on impact. The driver noticed something clutched in the boy's hand. It was a photograph. Turning it over in his hands, the driver realized it was a picture of an incredibly beautiful girl. She was wearing a black top, a short black skirt, black tights, and black shoes. For some reason, she was holding up 3 fingers. Ooh! Ooh, so you're telling me that she had 2 other victims before. Oh, that is low-key kind of scary. That is low-key kind of scary. See, I don't know why those stories freak me out the most. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was something different. I still gotta edit and stuff. And I may drop in like future Sylvie to correct me where I went wrong on certain things. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that, and hopefully I didn't freak you out too bad. The first story was more violent and intense, and you know, I can't say certain things because of YouTube's terms and service, so hopefully this video stays up, but we'll find out. We'll find out. Anyways, guys, peace, see ya, and remember, if you hear any mysterious noises from any of the things we learned today by reading these stories, If you hear mysterious voices, especially tap, 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 scratch, scratch, or po, 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 or someone giggling out your window at 3 o'clock in the morning, chances are, don't investigate it. Because you might wind up in one of these stories I just got done reading. And that's scary by itself. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next live stream or video. Bye!